Hi, everyone, and happy Monday. We are very excited to kick off our Alpha Nooner show this week with Ziad and Jason from TerrAscend. Very excited to talk about what is going on in the cannabis landscape and, of course, talk a little bit about what is driving growth for TerrAscend. Good reminder for anyone who's out there. I know it is early in the week and you're probably just still kind of waking up and getting into the flow of things. But if you guys have any questions, comments, you want to get into the conversation, good reminder, this is a great opportunity to do that. You can throw them in the chat and we take them on every platform except for Instagram, unfortunately. Still, Instagram is still in the past and that's fine. What are you going to do? But with all that said, thanks so much for joining. Ziad, Jason, how are you guys doing? How's your Monday morning starting off so far?
I'm doing all right. Good to see you.
Great to see you. Perfect. How are you guys feeling? I feel like we've had a tough few almost weeks, days, something like that, but we're a little bit green today, which has been nice. How's it feeling? Are you guys cautiously excited? What's sort of your feeling on that front?
See?
Yeah, I'll start. Look, Jason had made me do a verbal promise that I don't look as often, and then we continue doing what we're doing. And he always said the market will do the right thing at the end, and we're not building company for the short term. It will make sense when the time is right. Now, I can't say if Jason cannot be having the hat of an investor. I'm sure he looks a lot more than me. Jason?
Yeah, what's the price? I haven't even checked the price today. What are you talking
about? That's good. It's good. You want to have some distance from it and not get too wrapped up in it, because it is, we are as close as we've been to making real progress and kind of getting closer to what we want to see and what we've kind of thought has been the case for a while. So that's been fantastic. And yeah, good not to get excited. Seeing some exciting comments. Thanks for throwing them in. Well, so I guess I wanted to start kind of high level cannabis check-in and just sort of the general landscape. How are you guys feeling about where we are right now as we're halfway through the year, roughly? What's sort of your general thought as we've almost put the first half of the year in the books? Maybe Ziad, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'd love to. So look, when I think of how I feel, I think of it internally and externally. When I look at the external environment, I feel pretty good. We feel there is some progress, yet I feel it's extremely painfully slow. But that's a situation that we've been in for a while. But I think last time we chatted, I mentioned it and I meant it, and I still feel the same way. There seems to be plenty of enough changes and enough cracks around the punitive dam around our industry that hopefully it's coming down, and I still feel the same way. And again, if common sense works in the election and politics, then we will see all those changes. That's on the external side. From an internal side, I feel pretty good. Look, this month, we will celebrate our 5-year anniversary in the US, where we started our first dollar in the US. So we're a pretty young company, and we have managed to really build a pretty strong, solid business and strong fundamental in 5 years. So we celebrated this for a nanosecond. And now what we are laser focused on, Mackenzie, is really how do we grow on those fundamentals? So we talked in the past about internal growth levers, Pennsylvania, Maryland expansion, things that are organic to our business, but complemented by growth in the open map that we have, and that is through entering new states that we have mentioned, and then also thinking of transformative deals that will make our company not only one of the best, but one of the biggest, or the combination of both.
Yep, I know you guys. You often talk about having that depth and breadth at the same time, which is fantastic. And yeah, it sounds like really setting up for a year of growth on the other side of it, 2024, which is great. Jason, anything to add on that front?
No, I think Ziad covered it. I mean, we are, in terms of the progress, rescheduling and all that, that's definitely a huge positive, assuming it happens, which we think it will. The stocks certainly haven't reacted, very well, as we got confirmation several weeks ago or since that time. But like we talk internally, and I think I've said it before publicly as well, it's sort of like that rescheduling news, it's sizzle and it's steak. Meaning sizzle, it should have been exciting to the market, and a little surprised that the stocks are where they are relative to us being so close. But even if the market, or what they call, Mr. Market, even if Mr. Market doesn't care right now about rescheduling, the fact is, starting hopefully very soon, we're not going to have accrue a liability or an uncertain tax liability every quarter as it relates to 280E. And I think we know that's helpful as it relates to the credit markets and lenders because it just makes us a better credit. It should lower our cost of capital. It obviously will help us sustain the strong cash flow that we've had over the last several quarters. So eventually the market will figure it out. I used to have a painting on the wall in my office in New York City that said the truth always happens. And to me, that means relative to the market, the market always seeks out and finds the truth in things, and the rescheduling news is huge, even if it doesn't care right now.
Yeah, it's true. Eventually it'll catch up. I totally agree on that front. Have you guys been encouraged looking through some of the comments and seeing that the majority of them do seem to be supportive and positive? I know there are a few out there that are still negative and saying leave it at Schedule 1, which is surprising to me, but everyone's willing to participate in democracy and, whatever, that's fine. Surprised, encouraged? What's your thoughts in terms of the turnout so far in terms of the comments and everything?
Yeah, I would say not surprised, but encouraged. I mean, the vast majority of the comments have been positive. I also liked how in the when the government when the DOJ put out the document several weeks ago, they said they want to hear specifics about how it's going to help from an economic perspective. So I thought that was very positive. TerrAscend will be posting comments there as well before the deadline.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I definitely think having that eye towards the economic impact component is super important and easily is sort of laid out, I think, just from the data that we've seen even just so far, which is great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. Again, very excited to be closer than we have been in the past. I think it's one of those things that bears repeating just because it has been a bit tough, but I think it's important to kind of remember where we are and where we are in the path towards getting real progress. The 280 should not be forgotten. I know we talk about it all the time, but when that really happens, that'll be a big deal. So important to remind you there. Well, wanted to kind of catch up on what you guys have been up to lately a little bit. I know Canaccord was it last week or the week before? Time is flying. The week before, I think, right?
I thought it felt like 5 months ago. Right?
Time in cannabis is so crazy. That is true. Yeah. Well, just wanted to check in on that. How was it? I know Dan was there as well. Anything to kind of pull out for highlights?
Z, you want to take that to start?
Yeah, I'd love to. So since then, we're still focusing on the same thing, the core business internally, and that's really looking after our New Jersey, Maryland, and Michigan from a running the business and continue to improving our fundamentals and continue to delivering on the results that we promise. From a Pennsylvania perspective, is more looking at the adult use progress and looking at T-minus 180, T-minus 120, T-minus 90, hopefully, and then being prepared for all those scenarios. Internally, we've talked about a few growth levers that we're focusing on. Yes, Pennsylvania from adult use, Maryland from a new stores that we are new store that we are relocating.
Yeah.
The store has opened. The grand opening is this Thursday. This morning I saw a lot of excitement and some of the feedback that the patients and the customers are giving about the stores. I reviewed the program and the exciting game and fun that the team has put together. So we're looking forward to this. We have expanded our cultivation operation in Maryland, and we will bring down our first harvest in August. That will double our cultivation capacity, and that will allow us to also grow our vertical presence in our stores. So we're continuing to do the same thing in our core business, but then Jason and I have been extremely busy, and we've traveled a lot and spent a lot of time together talking about that.
Too much.
Yes, too much. With some really late night stories in middle of nowhere America, and meeting some of the best people 10 and 11 in the evening and taking care of us because we were late meeting some of the best people we could in our industry. So it's the growth, it's through acquisition, it's through entering new states, and we're having great conversations. We're closer than we were, and every day we will be closer than we were, and we can't wait to share some of those updates.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So really talking through the growth trajectory and kind of talking through, it seems positive in terms of not that emotion is the key thing, but in terms of taking a temperature check, things probably felt very positive at Canaccord in terms of laying out where things are going, which is great to hear. All right, fantastic. Well, so you mentioned the new store opening. That's exciting. Would love to dig a little bit more into that, the relocation component, why this new location, and then I would love to hear if there are any fun games or giveaways or anything that you guys are doing as well. Jason, do you want to talk through just sort of the relocation component of it, maybe?
Sure. That might be a better one for Ziad because he's closer to it. But the only thing I would add in terms of from the Canaccord, my takeaway from there was that there definitely, in our view, there seems to be more enthusiasm on the lending side. There are new institutions that are looking at lending into the space. Some of them are waiting for the actual official rescheduling news. There's others that are willing to put their toe or their foot in the water now. And overall, it just seems like even though the stocks don't show it, that on the credit side, things seem to be loosening up a bit. I think largely because there's about to be more participants that are going to be in the pool. So
Yeah,
to speak.
that's fantastic. I feel like with cannabis, a lot of the times there's been all these sort of catalysts that are kind of locked up within each other. It's sort of one waiting on the other, that's waiting on the other, that's waiting on the other. Seems like it's starting to loosen up. I know scheduling is part of the component that's leading that, but it's great to see, I think, across the board. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll let Ziad, maybe if you want to give a little detail on the new store
Yeah.
opening.
Yeah, I'll talk about the grand opening. Jason, thanks for answering the Canaccord question from the environment. I more answered it from what we have been doing since. But what Jason said about the financing or the new capital, we are witnesses to this, and then it's an area that we are very close to, as we've shared that, and we're refinancing our debt that comes to maturity here at the end of the year. So what Jason said, we are seeing, we are witnessing, and we can't wait to share some of those news that we've done on that front. That proves what Jason said is super accurate.
Right. And I would even add that there seems to be more capacity available than there was just 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So.
All right. As far as the new store, if you remember, July 1st, Maryland flipped to recreational, and the days leading to July 1st, we were busy closing on some of the acquisitions, and we still believe till today that we have a combination of the highest retail market share because of the stores that we have picked. One of those stores had a small footprint and had a less advantageous parking lots, and it's an area that could have been upgraded. So when we closed on that deal, we had already started thinking about a relocation. We've had conversation. We picked a place where the municipality allowed it and the retail space was there. So it was planned all along, and as soon as we took possession of it, we started the plan, and it opened last week, grand opening on Thursday, and we have a lot of good activities. If I had to name one that I like a lot, is they are like the first 15 customers will get certain things, but there are first 20 customers, first 100 customers, but the first 15 customers that will spend more than $200 in their basket will get a penny, an eighth, and they will enter into our super, super, super loyal customers. Then that they will be customers and patients for life. So I'm super excited about that. We also have a lot of our partners like Wana that are participating in discount and extra loyalty points. We have other 3Ps that are doing the same. So we have the first 10 customers will get membership in our Legend Club. So it's a lot of fun stuff. And I can't wait to see how that store performs.
That's very exciting. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to ask you to name the name. I like when he says the name of the mall that it's located.
You like the Marshmallow Mall?
What is it? White Marshmallow? I forgot.
White Mall. Yes.
That's a great spot. Well, I feel like when Maryland went online and you guys had snapped up those places, which was great. I think we had done an Alpha Nooner, which was awesome to kind of talk through. How is it reflecting on how Maryland has changed? I see some good comments for other markets, so we'll hit on that soon. But reflecting on Maryland, it feels like it's been a success. What's the sort of reflection on Maryland, I guess, ultimately?
Yeah.
We're witnesses to this. Yes, Maryland has been successful. Maryland has been what we expected it would do to TerrAscend after New Jersey, and it's delivering this. Maryland, we started behind New Jersey because New Jersey, we had a first mover advantage. We were there since the application. We built our brand. Here, we brought 4 families and put them in one family, plus the 5th one, our cultivation. So we have 4 stores and ours. So it's been busy work. But even with that, it had performed. And we don't measure EBITDA. We really measure cash flow or cash generation, and it has done everything we expected, and we continue to be happy with it. Now, with the cultivation expansion, we will be able, and then relocation of the store, we will be able to even go deeper into our verticality and get to that 50-60% that we would like, and really build our brand both in our retail stores and in other retailers through our wholesale business.
That's awesome. So I think, again, you did a great approach originally, but always kind of improving and changing, which is great and awesome. Exactly what you want to see. All right. Love the Maryland, which is great. So talking through other markets, I see a question from William. Could you guys speak about Ohio? I know that's the big exciting thing that's coming up, and Florida, and get into those markets. I don't know what that last market is. I can't quite see. It looks
That's
like
a code. That's some kind of code or
some kind of
something.
code. I can't crack that. How about Ohio and Florida for now? What are your thoughts on those as markets? Benefits, drawbacks, any thoughts there?
Yeah. Ziad, I'll start with that one, and then you can add to it. Ohio, we're very excited about. We've talked about it on our last couple of earnings calls. That's where Z and I were 2 weeks ago for a few days. There is no shortage of attractive acquisition candidates there. I mean, we met with 5 and saw 5 different operators that last trip that we were there. But there's another 4 or 5 that we're talking to in addition to those. So we've said that we had said that we wanted to be there for the beginning of the market. One of the first times that the market is opening sort of a little bit ahead of plan.
Yeah.
Similar to Maryland a little bit, where they really got their stuff together and they're ready to roll it out pretty quickly, which is great. And we still expect and plan on being in that market, pretty quickly, say within those first weeks or a couple of months of the start of the program. And we're really excited about the program overall. It seems similar to us to New Jersey, but maybe better, because in Jersey you can only have 3 stores. In Ohio you can have 8 stores, and there are. It's obviously a much bigger state than New Jersey in terms of, I think it's 13 and change million people versus about 9 million people in New Jersey. So we think that there is a really large amount of business that could be coming from Ohio for us in the future, and we just got to get the right deal. And the good news is there are practically no other bidders. I mean, when we talk to every single one of these companies, not one of them has said, well, think of an offer from XYZ, yours has to be better. I mean, they give their own reasons for why they want whatever price they want, but there's practically no competitive tension when it comes to bidding for these things. I think part of it is because most of the other multi-state operators are already in the state. And the other part is just that it's been a tough capital environment. It's sort of similar to Maryland from that perspective, where we went out and we said we want to find the best 4 stores that we can to get to that cap, and we really didn't compete with. There was one MSO, I think, that was competing with us on one of those deals, but it's similar when there's no competitive tension. It's obviously a lot easier to drive a successful deal. And I would say that practically every single one of the companies that we visited a few weeks ago would be. Even if we paid, what they would like, whatever their terms that they would like, which we think we're going to do better than that. Even if we paid what they wanted, they would be very, very accretive deals.
That's fantastic. Is there anything different in terms of the rubric for what you're looking at for stores versus like Maryland or any other store in general, or is it pretty much the same? Have you learned anything through previous acquisitions that you're like, actually, this is what I'm looking for, this is more important, or something like that?
Well, the one thing, not necessarily through previous acquisition, but one thing that we learned was just through our previous experience was in New Jersey, that the stores that were open for day one of rec started at a much higher level and grew from that level. And then stores that opened later never achieved those levels, and just they never really got close to the stores that were open day one. So that's why, as we've been talking to all of these operators, stores that are currently open for business certainly are a high priority for us. And there's even a way to we can even acquire, the level 1 license in Ohio, is cultivation, and you get you can own up to 8 dispensaries, right? But we can go out and acquire other sort of onesies, twosies, and three store groups and put those in. As long as we don't go past the 8 store cap, then all of that would be good. So we would like to have as much retail. We'd rather have as much of those 8 stores be actual open stores, and if that means that we divest, some of those other ones that aren't open, that's what we would do. Or we could even let the owners that own them now keep those if we're able to go out and find new stores. So that's definitely something we learned from like New Jersey. There just seems to be this awareness when the news and everybody's talking about the first day of rec, it ends up, it's like the best advertising you can get. And then if you open up a store, even 3 months later, it just doesn't have that level of awareness.
That makes sense. So getting something good now versus something perfect in 3 months, 4 months, something like that. That totally makes sense. Ziad, anything to add there? I didn't mean to.
Yeah, and I think Jason described it perfectly. The only thing I would add is also a good balance between retail and wholesale. So learning that Ohio will be similar to New Jersey at some point, it would be a 50-50, 40-60 either way between retail and wholesale. So having somebody who has a recognizable brand and a good established wholesale business adjacent to the retail stores that Jason described would be the perfect combination.
Awesome. All right. And then jumping around just to a different market, I saw Skip's question around Michigan doing very, very well.
We didn't answer Florida either.
Oh, shoot. I jumped straight over Florida. Oh, okay. Florida. What's a quick update on Florida?
Yeah, and Ziad loves to talk about Florida. I know he has strong feelings on what kind of market it's going to be. So why don't you
better weather?
Yeah, look, we're watching what's going to happen in Florida. We're watching the political tensions that is taking place. We're watching what the governor is saying, but at the same time, we're also having conversations to learn the Florida market and to understand who is available. And we have potential partners that would be a good fit for us, and we have good relationships with them. And the conversation continue to shape itself. But I would say it's behind Ohio from a time perspective, just because how the timeline is. I would say it would be a successful state. I think 60% is an attainable number, but it's a tough number. Many of the states that have passed through a ballot did not achieve 60%. Now, Florida is different, and that vote happened before on a medical program. So there's a lot to see and how it's presented to the voters, what campaign for the education is taking place. So, but I think it will be a good state. It would be one of the biggest states. The tourism for Florida will help a lot. So we are watching with a lot of curiosity and a lot of interest.
Yeah,
and the margin should stay long there for a decent period of time, because it looks like it'll still be vertical only, and that's a way to protect margins for a good deal of time. So we think that'll be a good state.
Okay, that makes sense. How much does it matter that I know it's a big state with a big market, all that stuff, but I know it is very crowded a lot of the time. How much does that kind of factor into how attractive it is as a state ultimately for you guys who are still
Yeah, I think the big number of stores will impact. I mean, we always say, how is the state growing versus the retail store count versus the cultivation growth? The fact that it will be protected with the verticality, then what you're growing is for your own store, and that's what Jason was talking about from a margin perspective. The competition at the retail stores will happen, so you have to compete like we compete everywhere, and that's through differentiated product, through high quality and high specialty. And we watch every week the numbers that comes in Florida, and you will see it's not the size of the operator, it's the quality of the operator and how they're performing per average of store or per average of square footage. And so that would be the same playbook to compete in Florida.
Got it. That makes perfect sense. All right, thanks for explaining that. That helps. All right, Skip was mentioning Michigan doing well. How you feeling about Michigan?
See?
Yeah, Jason, sorry.
No, I said Z.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Okay. So Michigan is still the same state for us, right? We just opened our 19th store. When we first added Michigan to our business, we had it around 22% in gross margin. We said that we will be at 40%, and that's what we worked very hard for, using what we just talked about, how success looks like in every state. It's through the product, through the launch, through the specialty, through not having FOMO, through competing against others by not cannibalizing your prices and just do a business for the long term. And then we delivered that 40% gross margin 2 quarters in a row. So now that we have stabilized gross margin, our play is getting more intense. I don't know if intense is the right word, as far as launching a new product, increasing our verticality, and fully operationalizing our manufacturing facility. So that's what we're doing in Michigan. That is to help with revenue. That's to help with gross margin. Adjacent to this, we continue. We talked about increasing our market share in Michigan through adding new stores, 10, 15, 20 other stores, and then at 40% gross margin, that state will start contributing. It has not been as active on that front as we wanted to, simply because we have other states that are taking priorities, but we continue to build those relationships in Michigan to find the right partner to go deeper in that state. Jason,
Right.
anything I left?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is, if you remember back, Mackenzie, when we started in Maryland, and when Maryland went rec on July 1st, in Q3, our revenues were up, I don't know, 25 or 28% sequentially, and our SG&A was flat. It was even down a couple $100,000 quarter over quarter, and that's because we run our corporate offices for Maryland. We run them out of our regional offices in Pennsylvania, and those are the offices where we run New Jersey, PA. And Maryland, and it really showed the benefit of being able to leverage some of that OpEx. Well, as we just discussed, if we add Ohio in the coming months, we plan on running New Jersey and Ohio regionally as well.
Michigan.
I'm sorry. Yes, Michigan and Ohio. Thank you for correcting me.
We're throwing them around.
Michigan and Ohio. Yeah, sorry about that. We plan on running Michigan and Ohio regionally as well, out of the same corporate offices. And then there might even be another Midwest state that we might be adding to the roster as well. So, and our view is running it that way, it'll make states like Ohio, it'll make it even more profitable for us than it would have been if we were running it just as a single state. And it'll make places like Michigan materially more profitable for us, and really get some real scale going out of our Midwest region. In terms of dropped a little hint in terms of another state, that might even be announced before a potential Ohio deal is announced. So we're excited about that, and we've been working on that too.
But Jason, you can't say New Jersey versus Michigan. I'm already getting text messages. Why are you uprooting us from the Northeast? I'm just kidding.
There's always people out there, whatever. Okay, well, that's so exciting. And again, great to see sort of really putting your foot on the gas. And I love the teaser. I'm excited to see where you guys land as well. Because the Midwest needs it as well, I think, as well. It's, they're like any other place.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, as you guys are really finding this growth, pushing forward, I'm seeing an interesting comment coming through from Brian talking about, would you guys ever be open to merging, or potentially have you guys been approached as an acquisition target? Because you guys have been running very, very well. I don't know if the time for M&A is around. I also don't know if it's like, this has been your baby. You guys have been working so hard on this for so long, and it's finally getting nice, I think. What are your thoughts around, I guess, for TerrAscend specifically, but then also, do you see that happening kind of broadly in the industry?
Sure. Yeah. See, you want to take the first?
Yeah, I'd love to. Look, Brian, I think what's so special about cannabis, and that is different than any other industry, is by having two companies that are good or share the same culture or are delivering the same things, where it would make sense anywhere to do it in cannabis because of limited licenses and because where you exist in which states and what has to be divested or not, practically that is impossible. So the answer has to be with the right fit for the right expansion. Jason and I have been talking over the last 2 quarters about the deals that we described today, state by state, but also we have talked about transformative deal. Part of that transformative deal would be TerrAscend making a transformative deal. I don't think I can say anything else. I was going to get set myself for failure here, but it would be growing in a way that will fulfill what the intention is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The only thing I would, if you look at the maps, because there's these some of the most attractive states have low license caps. It's, it really has to be specific in terms of overlaying the maps and seeing how complementary they are. But we're definitely looking at things like that as well. And, hopefully we'll have something to say about that, at some point as well.
Yeah, and I think the outcomes would be a big 5 or a big 6, because our goal, and we've been talking about really growing not only in how well we do, but growing in size. And there are ways, and there are map complementary ways to actually create the next big, the 5th or the 6th or the 4th, whatever that number is.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I think, operating well in the meantime allows you that time and that ability to kind of be choosy where you'd like to be. So I think that's super important as well, which is great. All right, let me look through the comments really quickly to see if we have any final questions. We didn't even get into the lawsuit, which we can cover next time. No worries. Let's see. All right, I think that's it. So I think great job. As we're heading into summer, what's your strain of the summer? I got to ask both of you real quick. What's your pick for the summer?
Jason, I'd love to hear your first, because I just got a download from New Jersey on some exciting strains that are coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I like our in New Jersey. We have named after our head of cultivation. We have a strain called New Jersey Gas Man. So that would be my strain of the summer.
That's perfect. I love it. All right,
that continues to be a bestseller. That continues to be one of the big performers, and but also we're about, and BG and the market team will kick my butts if I remove the curtain on some of the strains. There are a combination of 15 strains that are coming in. We will be dropping 1 to 2 every 2 weeks for the next few weeks in the summer. And we will be doing those drops to some of our VIP customers, and then for the remaining of the market. So we're pretty excited about this. But Gasman continue to be at the top of the list.
All right, you got a shared one with Gasman. That makes sense. Awesome. Looking forward to those drops coming soon. Appreciate you guys taking the time. It's great to kind of sit down and kind of get some updates on where you guys are as a company, and also just how you guys are doing as well. So I super appreciate you guys both taking the time. We will hopefully catch you later. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Everyone, thanks for joining. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Before investing, carefully consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses found in the prospectus, available at advisorshares.com.